It's me, the old hobo, Grandpa Hope. And today, or this evening, if we have enough light left, let's go out on the back. Oh, see that big black bag there? That's my laundry. I don't like to do laundry, do you? And a little jalapeno's growing like a weed. It's so pretty. All right, I'm supposed to put this in the skiff. There goes the little bird flying over there and landing. It's the only one with me right now. Need to get down the ladder. We're gonna come out here and talk about something new. You know that old empty Arizona tea jug? There's 120 of them under this platform. And this platform has got plenty of water clearance. That foam's expensive, and after I replaced it 3 or 4 times, by golly, I saved my tea jugs and I glued them all under there, and that was about 4 years ago. Can you see the moon over the top of the boat? Okay. And today, I want to talk about sponges. These are sponges. That icky black thing. And here's one I've been cleaning on. This one is just barely legal. And these are wool sponges. Some call them sheep's wool, others call them lamb's wool. They're the softest sponges in the world. And women the world over cherish these for bathing. They pay $100 for a nice one in a boutique. And I'm cleaning on that one, so they look a little bit like that when they're done. And this one's been in the water a couple days. First, we take them out of the water when we harvest them, squeeze the water out of them, leave them out for 24 to 36 hours until they're dead, put them in a knit bag, and I knit my own bags, learned from my daddy, and put them in the water for about a week, cleaning them 3 or 4 times. Now, this is today's harvest. And this big one was so big, I was plumb tuckered out and had to give up sponging by the time I got that baby up. Sponges grow on the rocks, and to pull them off the rocks without tearing them and ripping them is the art of sponging. There's all kinds of little shells and claws and bits and pieces in these things. Sometimes these big old worms come out and they're up to 29 inches long. There's a worm right there trying to get out, a little bitty baby. Here's another sponge I got. These are too big for bass sponges. The way you tell a wool sponge, look at this. Can you see those little chimneys sticking up there? Well, when we look right down in them, those chimneys are eyes. And every wool sponge has them. And what's neat about that, the sponge sucks in nutrients by sucking the water into its skin, through its skin, filtering out the nutrients and expelling through these eyes. And when conditions are bad, a little sponge can close its eye down really tight, or they can open them up. Sponges are neat. You see, it's almost like having a heart. They've got a pump that's moving the water through them all the time. And they're neater than that. Oh my golly, what can I tell you about sponges? Well, if I cut that big one in 100 little pieces, 100 pieces, and tied those pieces on a long piece of rope and put them in a good current with nutrition, I'd grow 100 sponges. In 2 years, I'd have 100 sponges the same size as that. Isn't that neat? I can't cut off my toe and reproduce a me. But then what's really neat is, like many fish, on the moon in June or July, these guys spawn very much like us human beings do, or other fish. They all on one night send their fluids up into the water, and they mate that way. Maybe that's why I've been told there's 14,000 species of sponges in the world. We used to have 400 or 500 around here. Now, as these guys die, they stink, the flies come. So the sponge basically is like a heart, and it reproduces a little bit like fish do, and yet I can cut it into sections and it'll continue to live and grow. Isn't that neat? And sponges filter the water. Do you see the whiteness on this thing? When I first harvested it, it was covered in white mud, as this one was. The conditions have gotten so bad in the bays that there's mud, but it's not really mud, it's calcium carbonate. It's ground up coral that's ground up to a heavy dust. And it is not helpful for the sponges to live and breathe, and the sponges have fallen off radically in the past 20 years. There's 4 sponges, and I've been working a week. I could get 120 to 150 a day in years gone by, 20 years ago. My daddy was a sponger in Tarpon Springs, and my granddaddy was a sponger. Isn't that tomato plant beautiful? And it's big and healthy and beautiful as it is, and it's making flowers, but I haven't seen the first tomato. Yep. Not such a bad lifestyle for an old hobo. Getting ready to have a sunset. And I don't know, can I zoom that enough? That's wide open. Can you see one little tiny bird sitting there? Well, she's hanging out with me till her mom and daddy get back in September or early October. They've gone off to breed, and she was too young. What a beautiful evening. Pretty blue skies. And even though I have my weapon right near me here, yeah, I've got about 6 of these on the boat. Worst mosquito season I've seen in many, many years. But they're not out right this minute. And that's a little bit of what I know about sponges. There's lots to know about them. They're magnificent creatures. I think they're one of the places where life first began to emerge from the sea and crawl out of the ocean in its plant form. But I don't know all that. So here we are. Little trees growing more and more every day. And you see this itty bitty thing? Look at this itty bitty little thing. Now y'all go to Google or Wikipedia and look up the Royal Poinciana tree when it's full grown and in bloom. They're magnificent. So, from the old hobo, I love you guys, and thank you for being there. Bye-bye.